Hi there, my name is Morgan Brysden, and I'm the creator of Center Studio, where I teach people skills to feel more comfortable more often. Now, recently I was speaking with one of my students and we were talking about self-esteem, and specifically with regard to social media. So Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing. And I was sharing with her a personal story of mine, something that had happened to me that I found, wow, when I did this, it directly impacted how I felt about myself. And she said, I think if I implemented that and sort of practiced that, I too could feel differently. So I thought I would share this with you all in case you were also inspired. And this story takes place right when I had my first daughter, Naya. So probably 6 years ago, I started following a specific woman on Instagram. And this woman was a mother. She had a young child, and then they had gotten a puppy. And so she was documenting the puppy and the child, and they were sleeping. It was so cute. And I just loved seeing this little dog and baby sleeping together all the time in these adorable poses. So I started following her. I liked her photos and I was keeping up, and it really, brought me a lot of joy when I saw her photos. And fast forward to when I had my second daughter, Ilya. So this is probably like a year or two later, and I'm pregnant with Ilya. Maybe I'd had her. Doesn't matter for this story. But anyhow, here I am, and I'm consuming my feed on my Instagram, and I see one of her posts, this woman. And this was probably the fourth or fifth post that I had seen of hers where I felt the same way. And this particular photo was like a birthday party. There was some sort of celebration. They were in her gorgeous kitchen. It was immaculately clean. Like all the decorations were gorgeous and the presents were perfectly, displayed along with these, amazing looking cupcakes. I mean, it looked like a beautiful party, friends. And I just immediately felt not good enough. And so I hit unfollow. I was like, I don't like how I feel, unfollow. And I wasn't mad about what I saw from her. I didn't think it was not a beautiful picture, obviously. I just didn't like how it made me feel like I wasn't doing a good job at being a mother. I felt like I was starting to compare myself, thinking oh, my house has to be that clean, my kids have to be dressed all the time, and I have to have birthday presents on the actual birthday party, which in my case, usually they're a week or two late. I just started feeling all these feelings of inadequacy and I wasn't enough. And that's not her fault, right? Because I'm sure plenty of people like those photos. And in fact, maybe in years to come, I'll want to follow her again. Who knows? But I just realized that what I was taking in, right, the media that I was consuming from her, wasn't making me feel good. And so I quickly and without too much thought just unfollowed her. And when I was talking to my student about this, I was suggesting that she really try to become more aware and conscious of what kinds of information she is bringing into her. Because sometimes we don't recognize that we are triggered by outside places, and that affects how we feel about ourselves. Now, I know that we don't have control over all of the information that we consume. However, we have a lot more control than we believe. If you think about all of the Facebook and the Instagram out there, right? You can control to some degree what kind of content you're taking in. So my suggestion to her and my suggestion to you is that you really consider, who am I following? Who am I liking? Do I feel better or do I feel worse when I'm taking in that information? And when I was thinking about making this video, I actually was thinking about how I've been doing this sort of for years prior to my birth of my daughters, because I don't know, this was probably college. I recognized that when I was, at the hairdressers or at the doctors, they'd always have those beauty magazines like Fitness and whatever. I don't pick those up because I don't think I've ever read one of those magazines and felt better about myself or learned something new that made me feel oh, I feel really good, right? So in my case, my experience is that when I take in that information, I actually feel inadequate and less than. I feel like I'm lacking in places, oh, I need that lip color, or oh, I need to have a certain hairstyle, and I don't like the way it makes me feel. So I always, when I go to places where they have those kinds of magazines, if they don't have a magazine that I would want to read, I don't read it just to fill time. And I think it's important to recognize that the information that you take in has an effect, a direct effect on how you feel about yourself. And if you question what kinds of information you're taking in, then you have the potential to change how you feel about yourself, right? Do I feel better about myself or do I feel worse? And of course, it's not to say that those things won't change, right? Maybe I go to the hairdresser tomorrow and I pick up a magazine and I'm like, oh, I'm super inspired by this hair color or something. I don't know, right? That could happen. But I'm just going to say to you that if you are not aware, if you are unconsciously consuming information, then you run the risk of affecting how you feel about yourself, how your self-esteem feels, and how you show up in the world. So I'm just going to propose that you give this a try. You consider how you feel when you're consuming social media and other information. And if you haven't already, friends, I would love if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can do so by hitting the button below. All right, until next time, take care. Ciao.